Hmm. When you think about work-based safety, your mind probably jumps straight to things like hard hats and bright yellow warning signs. And yeah, those are part of it. But real safety, deep down, effective safety is so much more than that. It's about having a smart, proactive system in place to stop accidents before they ever get a chance to happen. So, let me kick things off with a question for you. What really separates a close call, one of those heart-in-your-throat moments, from a full-blown catastrophe? And trust me, the answer isn't just luck. In the world of professional safety, what we call HSE for health, safety, and environment, the difference is absolutely critical. An incident is basically any unplanned that could have hurt someone or caused damage but didn't. It's like a warning shot across the bow. But an accident, well, that's when that warning shot actually hits the target. That's when you get real injury or damage. Let's dig into that a little more. An incident covers all those near misses. I'm talking about those heart-stopping moments, right? A worker slips on a wet patch but manages to catch their balance just in time, or a tool falls from way up on a scaffold but luckily nobody's standing underneath. These aren't just moments to shrug off and forget. They are critical, valuable warning events. And this right here, this gets to the very heart of what a modern safety culture is all about. When an incident happens, it's not about playing the blame game. It's not about pointing fingers. The goal is to get curious, to figure out why it happened, and then to put smart corrective actions in place to make sure that warning shot is never ever fired again. So, that's the big question, isn't it? How do we get ahead of the game? How do we build a system that actually systematically stops these little warnings from turning into big disasters? Well, it turns out there's a proven professional framework for doing exactly that. It's called the hierarchy of control, and the definition is incredibly powerful in its simplicity. It's a system that ranks different ways of dealing with hazards from the absolute most effective to the very least effective. The whole point is to always start at the top with the best solution and only move down the list if you have to. Okay, let's dive into these 5 levels. The best way to picture this is like an upside-down pyramid. At the very top, the most powerful and effective method, you've got elimination. And way down at the bottom, the point of the pyramid, is your last line of defense, personal protective equipment, what we all know as PPE. So, let's walk through each one, starting at the top. Alright, at the very top, the absolute gold standard of safety is elimination, and it is hands down the most powerful and effective way to deal with a hazard. And the principle is just beautifully simple. Don't just manage the risk. Don't just protect against the hazard. Get rid of it. Take it out of the equation completely. I mean, if the danger isn't even there anymore, there's zero chance it can hurt someone. Simple as that. Okay, here's a perfect real-world example. Working up high is inherently dangerous. The best way to prevent a fall isn't a fancy new harness. It's finding a way to do that job from the ground. Boom, the hazard of falling is just gone. You've completely eliminated it. Okay, but let's be real. Sometimes you just can't get rid of the hazard entirely. It's essential to the job. So, what do you do then? Well, that brings us to the second level of our hierarchy, substitution. This one's pretty straightforward. It's all about swapping out a dangerous material, a hazardous chemical, or a risky process for a safer alternative. You still have to do the job, but you're making it a whole lot less risky for the people doing it. Think about painting, for instance. For years, many paints were full of toxic solvent-based chemicals that gave off harmful fumes. A great substitution is to swap that out for a modern, much safer, water-based paint. Same results, same quality finish, but a massive reduction in the health risk. Alright, so now we're getting to a really interesting part of the hierarchy. If you can't get rid of the hazard or swap it out, your next best bet is to physically isolate people from the danger, and we do that using engineering controls. And notice, we're still not trying to change how people act. We're changing the physical space they work in. This is stuff like putting proper guards on moving parts of a machine. installing sturdy safety barriers around an open ledge, or building soundproof enclosures around noisy equipment. These are physical changes to the workplace that engineer safety in. Okay, so moving down another level, we land on administrative controls. Once you've done everything you can to redesign the physical space, now the focus really shifts to changing how people behave and work around a hazard that still exists. This is where you see things like really good safety training or having clear, easy-to-follow standard operating procedures, what we call SOPs. And it can be as simple as putting up a warning sign or as complex as redesigning work schedules and rotating shifts to make sure no one is exposed to a hazard for too long. And that brings us to the very bottom, the base of our pyramid, personal protective equipment or PPE. Now, it is so important to understand why this is dead last. It is your last line of defense, not your first. The idea here is pretty obvious, right? You put on safety gear to protect yourself, but here's the critical difference that puts it at the bottom. PPE does absolutely nothing to get rid of the hazard itself. The danger is still right there. All the PPE does is put a barrier between you and it. And if that gear fails, or if it's not worn correctly, the worker is completely exposed. And of course, we all know what this stuff is. It's the helmets, the gloves, the safety shoes, the goggles. Look, this gear is crucial. It saves lives. But the whole point of the hierarchy is that you should only be reaching for it after you've tried everything else higher up the pyramid first. So, there you have it, this awesome 5-level system for thinking about safety. But here's the million-dollar question. A system is just a piece of paper, right? Who actually makes sure this stuff gets used every single day out on the job on the front line, where it really matters? Well, one of the key answers to that is something called a toolbox talk, or a TBT. It's just a short informal safety meeting held right at the worksite, usually every morning. And what's so powerful about these is who runs them. It's not some safety manager from an office building. It's the direct supervisor or foreman, the person who actually leads the crew, talking about the specific risks of the work they're about to do that day. And that right there perfectly sums up the most important point of all. There's this myth that safety is just the safety guy's problem, but that's not how great safety cultures work. For safety to be real, the frontline supervisor has to own it. They have to lead that conversation and be the ones who turn a safety plan into safe actions. So I want to leave you with a question to think about. In your own workplace, is safety a real living conversation that happens every day, led by the people doing the work, or has it become just a piece of paper, just another box to tick? The answer to that question really tells you everything you need to know about the strength of your safety culture